Good evening and welcome to Deale for the 17th of our 17 community listening sessions. We've been working on these through the last 6 weeks or so, and we're very happy that you chose to spend this evening with us. Thank you for coming. My name is Phil Hager, and I have the honor of serving as the Planning and Zoning Officer for Arundel County. And we have a great group of people here who worked very hard to help make this evening come off. I want to take a moment to introduce a few of those folks. The people who come early and stay late and make sure that you can actually hear me, our communications people, our facilities management people, Zach Reed and Wade Forster. Thank you guys. Councilwoman Hare contacted me earlier today indicating that she would not be able to be here this evening. She has another commitment. She had originally planned on being here. She's very upset that she could not. She asked me to say hello to you on her behalf and says that she will be watching the video. She sent Matt Pitkin, her legislative assistant. Matt, if anyone doesn't know Matt, I'm sure he would be happy to take any messages back to the councilwoman if you'd like to speak with him. I know he's been working the crowd and talking with many folks. I know that she is very interested in this process and also in what you have to say. Performing a similar service for the county executive is Jimmy Kitchens from our Office of Constituent Services. James? He also is interested in making sure that if you have any thoughts or ideas that need to get back to the administration, he would be happy to relay them. He's very conscientious about, he's conscious too. He's very conscientious about his duties and takes it very seriously. We're fortunate to have him. From our Office of Transportation, Ramon Robinson, thanks for coming out tonight. From the Planning Advisory Board, the Chair, Jerry Pesterfield. Jerry, thank you. We have a Citizens Advisory Committee whose job it is to represent you as well as the rest of the county in the development of the General Development Plan. And they also take their job very seriously. They bombard us with questions, and they have given a great deal of time to date, and I can guarantee you they're going to be giving a lot more time yet before the process is complete. We're very fortunate to have such an experienced group of people who give of their time so freely. With us tonight is the Chair, Elizabeth Rossborg, Kate Bauer, Patricia Hooker, Joel Greenwell, and Melanie Hartwig Davis. We are extremely fortunate to have an incredible group of people in the Office of Planning and Zoning who are focused on making this the best possible process possible. And that means a lot of extra hours. They're here this evening, and they've been logging considerable hours over the last 6 weeks just associated with these listening sessions. I want to take a moment to recognize some of the folks who are here this evening from the Office of Planning and Zoning. Cindy Carrier, Jean Tinsley, Margaret Kai Ziegler, Patrick Hughes, Andrea Gerhard, and Ruth Davis Rogers. Thank you all very much. If I forgot you, it was intentional. So we are not able to be joined this evening by the county executive. However, he has made many of these meetings, and he is also very interested in this process and in hearing what it is that you have to say. Although he could not be with us this evening, he instead has prepared a video so that you can see what's on his mind. Ladies and gentlemen, our county executive.
Welcome to the Planning Department's Small Area Visioning session. I'm sorry that I'm not there with you. I'm making it to most, but there were a few evenings that I just couldn't attend, so decided to do this little video so that I could be with you on the screen. I just want to thank you for coming, because this process that we're going through for Anne Arundel County is probably the most important thing that we do this year, maybe the most important thing that we do during my whole 4-year term. It's the 20-year general development plan. And a lot of you said during the campaign, and you say all the time, that we want community-driven planning. And it was 17 years ago that we did the small area plans for Anne Arundel County. And you'll see, or you probably have already seen on the wall, the update that we asked for to let people know what proposals were implemented in the small area plans that your neighborhood did 17 years ago, and to let you say whether or not you think those are still important. And I know it's difficult to read all that detail on the wall, but I hope you will. It's important to know how you feel about what was said in the past, and to look at whether or not those proposals have been implemented. I also want you to know that I've been listening to what you've got to say in neighborhoods, and the general development plan and this small area visioning is not all that we're doing. We're looking at legislation that's going to give communities, especially when they're organized in groups, a little bit more influence and power over the process of what gets built and what gets developed in communities. So we're working on the issue of standing so that organizations can actually intervene in the hearings and play a role. We're also working on software that will allow you to go on a map and click on a site, a development site, and be able to get all the information that you want about the application and what stage it's at and how to intervene. And that's going to be very important. We're going to have training sessions around the county on how to use that software once it's ready to roll, and that can't come too soon. We're also looking at forest conservation bill that will help make it more difficult for developers to take down trees. We're looking at the adequate public facilities laws and whether we can strengthen those for school capacity and road capacity where development takes place. And we're looking at how we do modifications that the developers ask for when their project doesn't quite fit the rules. So we're strengthening the way that we handle modifications on environmental issues in particular. So all of that we want you involved in. It's in addition to the whole general development plan and small area planning process, but it's really designed to sharpen the tools that we have for citizens to be engaged in the process. I want you to also know that this is not your last crack at this, that this is just a visioning session so that we do one check-in in each of the neighborhoods, ask you also about the boundaries of the neighborhood and whether you think it's appropriate, but that after the general development plan is approved by the county council, we're going to start all over again, and we're going to do full small area plans after the general development plan. So there will be general principles for the county that I hope you'll be thinking about that'll be in the general development plan. One of the things that was very exciting for me was about 3 weeks ago, maybe by the time this video is done it'll be 4 weeks, but we did a kickoff meeting, and we had about 2 weeks notice, and 240 of you showed up, citizens, to talk about the general development plan. And we brought in an organization called Smart Growth America, and they did a briefing. It was past Governor Glendening who started this, where people talked not just about what we don't want in our communities, which is what a lot of us focus on, but also a vision for how Anne Arundel County can still grow while preserving open space, preserving the natural beauty of the county, and making sure that we have the infrastructure we need before we build all that other stuff. So we obviously in the county have huge traffic problems because we failed to build the infrastructure. In fact, we failed to charge developers the impact fee that would have paid for the infrastructure, especially on roads, and we're working on that. We're working on that in the budget, and we're going to create a new fund for infrastructure, and we have to catch up in Anne Arundel County. I know how frustrating it can be to be a citizen or a member of a community group that's trying to have influence over what goes on in your community, and I just want you to know that we understand that. We're doing everything that we can to make the process more user-friendly, and we don't want you to give up. You need to stay involved, so thank you. This is important. I hope you'll get engaged. I hope you have fun. I hope you all get along and all agree with each other, and I wish I was there to join you.
So Something that many of you may not be aware of, once the plan is completed and we've gone through all of these various community processes, and there will be more, the plan will be sent to the Planning Advisory Board. And I think one of the things that's particularly significant is the fact that the chair of the Planning Advisory Board, Jerry Pesterfield, has been to so many of these meetings. He comes to every Citizen Advisory Committee meeting, and we're very, very fortunate to have him. And he understands the process, and he understands the role that he has in that. And we're privileged this evening also to have with us another member of the another member of the Planning Advisory Board, Sylvia Jennings. Sylvia, thank you. So at each one of these 17 visioning sessions, we've been following the same format. We start several hours in advance with an open house with the opportunity for people to come, look at our maps, review the goals and recommendations from the old small area plans, ask questions of staff, and provide comments and input. Then the third and final part of the evening is the opportunity for people to verbalize some of their comments. And we found that the best way to effectuate that is to have a facilitated discussion, and that's going to be managed by the chair of the Citizens Advisory Committee, Elizabeth Rossberg. So I would ask that you be considerate, that you take an opportunity to thoroughly listen to what other people are having to say in response to their comments. And you'll probably find that there's some things that people say that you'll agree with, and maybe some things that you won't. But we would prefer that you not jeer or cheer or clap or anything else like that, because some people get very sensitive about that, and they find that can be a form of bullying, and it restricts dialogue and people feeling comfortable about what they have to say. And sometimes it's very hard for people to actually get up and say something, so we want to make sure that we respect that. So you have our undivided attention. What's important to you? What is it that you would like for us to hear about tonight? So without further ado, here is Elizabeth for part 3.
Good evening. Thank you all for coming out this evening. As Mr. Hager said, my name is Elizabeth Rossberg, and I'm the volunteer chair of the CAC. We're all volunteers. We have taken on this mission, and it is a long process, but we look forward to being part of the process and having a seat at the table. We thank you for coming out this evening. You really do make a difference. We want to know what you're thinking, and we promise that we will take all this information back. We've got lots of people here with notepads, including Patrick, who is going to document everything. And I do need to let you know that we are being taped. It will be available online. You can go to www.aacounty.org. Under the planning and zoning, under the menu there, everything is there. All the past visiting sessions that we have had, the tapes are available. Also, the questionnaire is available. If you know people who weren't able to come tonight, please encourage them to fill out the questionnaire and submit it online. You can also sign up to continue to get email updates and different things. And you can email me personally at plan2040@aacounty.org. So if there's something that you don't get to say tonight, or you prefer to write, I promise I will answer each and every one of those. So again, thank you very much for coming. It makes a great deal of difference, and we're glad that you took the time and you think that it will make a difference. We want to start with our first question, which is, what brought you to Deale Shady Side? Why did you choose to live in this neighborhood, in this area? This is not a rhetorical question. What brought you here, and why are... Okay, come on. Thank you. Okay, yes ma'am.
Tell me.
No, you can, no, go ahead.
My name's Robin Whitehurst, and you can all cheer when I'm done. Just don't cheer. What brought us to this community? My husband and I have been here for going on 6 years. And what brought us to this community were a couple different things. One is affordability. We lived in Annapolis, and we found the home that we could afford here. And of course, we both love the water. The water's here. Also the smallness, no traffic lights. The community. We are hoping that it stays this size. And we found that, people are really nice here.
Good, well, thank you. I appreciate it. I saw another hand. Yes, sir.
Hi, I'm Brian Tranowski. I live in Galesville. We came here to live on a boat in Galesville, and sort of an inherently mobile sort of platform. But we liked the community in Galesville so much that we stuck around for many years. And if I can add, one of my primary concerns is the quality of the water in the rivers. And over the course of time that we've lived here, I've seen it degrade. It's concerning.
It is an issue that we all want to address, that's for sure. Anybody else? What brought you here? Why have you chosen to stay here? I'll come back.
Hi, my name's Sharon Martin and I live here in Deale. And if somebody had told me 20 years ago, 30 years ago, that I would ever live in Deale, I would have looked at them like they were crazy. I'm new to Deale, but I'm not new to Deale because my family's had a family summer home here for years, and I came back after I retired because my father retired and I thought it would be nice to live close to him. When I think of all the places that I've lived, that's 3 states, this is the best place. I like the people. I like going to the store and seeing faces that I know or faces that I don't know that speak. It's very comfortable to be able to go to the store and say hello to somebody that you don't know.
That's great. So on the neighborhood, obviously, the community.
The community is very
The community. Yes, sir.
My name's Rob Anderson. We moved here 2.5 years ago from Roslyn. And my wife and I, we have 2 small kids that are just entering elementary school. And, we wanted a quieter place to raise our kids, something much more natural. And one of the first things that I did, I work as an architect, I read top to bottom the original small area plan, not the general development plan, but what the community wrote about Deale and Shadyside. And we fell in love with it, and we bought a house down here.
Good, thank you, we appreciate that. What have you seen that has changed in the last 15 years? I can get this done, come on, tell me the first thing.
Our new community-based grocery store, Christopher's.
Oh, there you go. A new community-based grocery store, Christopher's. Positive change, thank you, thank you. And I heard somebody else say it, it was the negative T word, the T word.
I've only been here a short time and I've seen it just in a short time.
In a short time, it's everywhere. Okay, now that we've gotten that off the table, or onto the table, what else have you seen that has changed? Positive, negative, both?
Both. In Galesville particularly, I don't know if it Deale and Shadyside, but we have a lot more young families, a lot more little children. So,
That's encouraging. Yes, that's very encouraging. What did I see? Yep, oh, I'm coming around. Yes, sir.
I'd say rising dirty waters.
I was going to say the high tides are getting higher and more frequent. The property is flooding more often and further back.
Just to repeat so everybody online can also hear this. So flooding, dirty water, higher tides, flooding further back onto the property lines. So, yes, ma'am.
I hate to say a negative,
No.
I apologize, but the trash in the ditches.
Trash in the ditches.
And the water in the ditches.
The water in the
That
ditches.
just breeds mosquitoes.
The water in the ditches and breeding mosquitoes, as well as trash.
We've always had wonderful diversity, and I think it's getting better, not worse. And just from my farm stand, I had no idea that we had people living here from Russia,
other parts of the United States. My neighbor is from China, Beijing, you know, what's she doing in Shady? I mean, it's just incredible, the kind of diversity and interesting people that are choosing to live in our area. And it's getting better, not worse.
That's great. That's awesome. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Loss of some of the small businesses.
Loss of some of the small businesses. That is concerning, you're right. So, what needs improvement? Come on, first thing.
The roads.
Roads. Got it. We know they need improvement, and most of you probably know that numbered roads are controlled by the state. So we have challenges there that we need to work closely with our state representatives as well as our county.
Beyond roads, we're actually seeing more accidents, so those evacuation routes for getting down, since we're limited, so many of us on peninsulas, getting to us, getting emergency services to us, we need workarounds.
It's definitely a challenge.
I can say one thing that I learned, being here, my in-laws live in Shady Side, and they came for dinner and there was an accident. And my partner said to go to the fire station, and they can help initially until, because they're EMTs there at the fire station in Deale. So I didn't know to do that. I thought, it's the first good step if you do have to wait. And I was kind of off that. But
No, that's good to
I
know.
didn't
It's
know.
always
I
good to
didn't- I
pass
didn't know.
information on.
Right.
Exactly. EMTs are available at the fire stations for help.
Needs improvement. I think we need better oversight in our development activities that are going on, based on a planning and zoning perspective.
When you say oversight,
As far
are
as
you
checking permits, checking to make sure that.
enforcement of the code?
I was gonna say, that's what I was gonna say, enforcement.
Enforcement.
Hi, I'm Khalil Gerard from Galesville, Greater Downtown Galesville as I call it. And there is a lot of trash in terms of old appliances, tires, tractors that are in the woods behind the Wilson property. And individuals can't really remove this. We need to have the state or the county come in and pull all that trash out so that the woods behind the Wilson property in Galesville will be a pleasant place to walk.
Thank you for passing that on. I see people taking notes, so we will pass that on to the appropriate authorities.
This goes along with roads, but really the walkability, there is none. If there's a walk score that goes to 100, 100 being the worst and 1 being the best, we're a 5. So it wouldn't be a problem if there wasn't an increase of traffic. But now that there's this increase of traffic, if you want to walk, you can. And there are citizens here that don't have cars and they're walking to Christopher's. There's no shoulder. It's been in this plan for a long time, but then it gets dropped, I guess, in the process of going to the state. And there has to be some kind of collaboration between the county and the state to make sure that this does happen. Because it's just going to the traffic will increase. And widening the road is not the solution.
Which is a good segue to let you all know that there is a master plan, the transportation functional master plan. And Mr. Robinson is here tonight, so he's listening to you. He's the director of our transportation for the county. The transportation functional master plan draft is online right now, available for your comments. I encourage you to go to aacounty.org. Under the menu, in the departments, go under transportation, and it's the first tab. And so I highly encourage you to comment and do that. The deadline is the end of this month. It is a draft. It will come back again, and we'll be able to share what is being done with that. Yes, sir.
My name is George Donahue. I'm the president of the Cape Ann Citizen Association, and I gave a very detailed input to the transportation plan and never got an acknowledgement from anybody that even received it.
There aren't acknowledgements. The comments will be tallied and done that afterwards. But if you'd like to do that again, I'm sure that Mr. Robinson can talk to you afterwards, but you won't get a comment back, unlike if you email me, I will.
I did send an email to that.
Lately?
Yeah.
Okay,
Like
give me
3 or
some
4
time.
weeks ago.
Okay, we'll work on that.
Stony Simmons, with regard to the roads, I would also like to add that as far as bicycling, which is very popular in South County, you can't have the problems with the state roads versus the county roads. A lot of people come down here to bicycle. And in general, the drivers are courteous, but I got missed by about 3 inches.
It definitely is a challenge, that 3-foot rule.
Some
They-
people feel that the bicycles are supposed to be 3 feet away from the cars, which puts them in the woods.
Wasn't in the ditches.
There are no bike lanes.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
on the road and I goes every day after they go.
She's saying that some people are using the bicycles for transportation versus just as exercise. And so they are biking to work and back in different places. And so on these particularly, these country roads, they need to be very careful. And we need to do some more education.
It's the same thing with walking as with bicycling. Some people's legs are their means of transportation, things like that. So
Pedestrians need to have a way to safely walk as well.
So on the transportation, the public transportation, people who need to get into the community college or medical center, some sort of bus transport, I'm not sure where that stands right now. But it needs to be there.
The public transportation, to improve public transportation, so people have access to get to the community college and work and other places that they need to go.
Relating back to what I said about rising dirtier waters, I've got the 2009 Sea Rise Strategic Plan for Anne Arundel County, and currently based off of IPCC data, which is the Intergovernmental Panel of Climate Change Scientists, all of the forecasts in this 2009 document have been exceeded. So we're coming up on September when a sea ice analysis for rising sea levels is going to come out. And everything the IPCC has come up with has been exceeded by what's actually happening in real life. So we need to actually have a comprehensive climate change plan in place, because there's goals in this 2009 document that have not even been looked at or taken seriously in any sense. So I love y'all, but I don't want to be sleeping on a gym floor next to all y'all. So we have to do something now.
I appreciate that, thank you. Thank you for passing that information on, it's very good.
Well, he just spoke something, I'm not sure, but before we all are going to the gym floor, as far as I'm not aware of any evacuation plan for South County, and particularly people with animals, horses, dogs, etc. If there is a major hurricane or something down here, which there will be with climate change.
And I don't have the answer for that, but we have it noted and we will look into that, because I know that has been an issue as well. So, thank you for passing that on. We've got lots of note takers, so we appreciate that. What should your community look like in 20 years? Go ahead, Mike.
2-minute warning, 2-minute time.
In this very room, right here, when Stuart Pittman was running for office, carrying around the small area plan, he heard from you, why are we getting 20 more houses when it was supposed to be our town square public area in the middle of our town? Stuart Pittman heard you. That property is under contract now, and we will own it, and we will play a part in its future. That took 20 years to do. So in the next 20 years, we should have a community center, because that was also listed 20 years. A community center should be constructed in the Deale Village Center. Well, now we have a village center. In the next 20 years, let's have a community center.
And that's why I came here tonight, and I saw that on the next door. I was very excited that we would have that instead of tiny houses. I was really excited.
Very hard worker,
Thank you.
community action. Community action makes a difference, gotta get involved, stay involved, and you have a lot of good people here, so networking is key.
Hi, Cecilia Petro, Galesville. Not just in 20 years, but
from now and 20 years from now, Galesville, like Deale, has a lot of commercial, industrial, marine infrastructure, and those are the things that keep us from being a suburb and keep us a town. With current, arguably, with current zoning laws, you couldn't create a town that looked like Galesville anymore. So I'm concerned that we maintain a total community and don't become a suburb because of zoning issues.
I think you all heard that, but zoning issues to make sure you stay a town and not become a suburb or an extension. Want to make sure that you stay small, community-oriented the way you are now. So, I get that right. What else? This is your time. Speak up.
So this is more of a question. I saw the first screen and it listed all the communities, and I noticed that Tracy's Landing was not on there, but it definitely is on the map. Is Tracy's Landing included in Deale Shady side?
Is Tracy's Landing included in Deale Shady side?
Yeah, on the map, which has the communities, at least based on our best information they have where the communities are, the small area plan overlay has it split. So that's what we're trying to avoid in the future is communities split by planning boundaries.
Hold on 1 second, because I had a thought. I know what I was going to tell you. Sorry, senior goddess moment is what some people call it. I like that, huh? Senior goddess moment. This is not your last opportunity to participate. We will come back with a draft plan. You will have more opportunity to come back. I didn't want you to think that this was it, and I just want to make sure that you know that you will be able to participate throughout the entire process. Yes, sir.
Yeah, back to my comment on just the read of the original 2001 small area plan. I'm thankful we have a new administration and they're being more responsive to planning and zoning issues down here. But I'd really like to see our community go back to that 2001 small area plan, because many of the comments I'm seeing up here are based on the 2009. And I've heard the stories of how hard the community worked to develop that small area plan. And there's a lot of things that I notice in that small area plan that are very valuable, and they're omitted from any of the public record here tonight. So I'm thankful you guys audited it and tried to do your best to go back through it, but I think it'd be worth a double dive there to go back to the 2001.
We appreciate that. We can use some help, so we know how to do that.
Rob's an architect.
There you go. There you go.
So is any of that the things that have already been implemented are not shown on the walls?
If they've been completed, then they are not on the walls.
So that's what I wonder
If they
any of
have
those
not,
things in that plan, I wonder if any of those things in the 2001 plan have already been completed, or you know that they just haven't and they're just not represented.
I can name a few off the
Okay,
top
that's
of
what I
my
was
head from the
wondering.
read on and stuff.
Okay, so they're not completed and they're not on the wall.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
do we have one more?
No.
Anything else?
I'd like to imagine in 20 years we have a place that senior citizens can move out of their individual houses into some kind of senior living facility and stay in South County with their families that might be co-located with child care, so the senior citizens could help with the little kids, and that we would have a community center for the community and the teenagers and sidewalks.
There There you go. That's true, and we talked about this in some of the sidewalks. We talked about this in some of the other communities and having the community centers, and it could be seniors with youth helping each other. And we also talked about sidewalks, lighted sidewalks even.
I have a question. Did you say that after the general development plan is completed, we're gonna go back and start small area planning again?
Eventually, yes. So small area, the timeline is that the general development plan will be approved in the spring of 2020. We then go into possibly some applicants who people want to change their zoning. It's called comprehensive rezoning. After that, we start. And the GDP now is done every 8 years, not 10. So the small area plans will be done before that time. So it'll be, and we need volunteers. Anybody who wants to do small area plans, think about it now.
Sign up.
Can I say something on the zoning? Thank you. Thank you, Elizabeth. The zoning is everything. We can have a vision, we can have a plan, but if we have improper zoning, that's what you're gonna get without a plan. The farm across from our farm was upzoned to R1, over 100 acres to R1 during the Owens administration. So what we need is not necessarily more upzoning, but we need some downzoning to proper zoning. That proper zoning for a farm would be RLD, or rural agricultural, 1 house per acre instead of
20.
Yes, thank you, 1 house per 20 acres. So proper zoning follows this process, and that's where we need to stay involved and be part of that zoning process.
Definitely. And you can also downzone. There's also easements available. There's open space money available. There's a lot, and there's a lot of resources in this room that can help you if you're interested in doing that, whether it be with the state or with the county. There's woodland preservation. There's a lot of different available programs out there. So I highly encourage you to learn about those other opportunities and choices. And Mike is right, zoning is everything. And you need to stay involved and make sure you know what's going on. And we used to say that, you know, people started getting involved when you saw the dump trucks or the excavators. Now you need to get involved when you see those little pink survey tapes tied to the trees.
Just to follow up on Mike's comment on zoning, one of the zoning issues that we see with it is resource conservation areas. The Shady Side ball field is the same zoning classification as Franklin Point Park, which is an environmentally sensitive area. And I truly think that we need to separate those because there's nothing natural or a resource conservation area about grass and a ball field when you're comparing it to pristine wetlands on the Chesapeake Bay. So that'd be one I'd love you guys to look into.
And Patrick has that noted down, but you can email me specific details because I'm interested in looking at that. But you also have 2 other representatives that are taking notes too.
Well, and basically somehow or another to be able to keep this area that we all love rural, and so the remaining farms that are still trying to make a living, so, you know, creative ways that big farms, particularly when the current farmers retire or die, that their children can make it viable farming, even if it's a different kind of farm and it's 5 young people farming what was one guy farming 100 acres, right?
So it is very important. We want to keep South County rural. Yes, sir. New voice in the back.
Probably a new resident too. Going on 3 years, I live in Deale. I grew up in an area not in the state, but it looked exactly like this. Everything was the same. I think the biggest concern for me here is that, and the question was, what do I want this to look like in 20 years? And honestly, it's hopefully the same, but with some updated buildings and technology, you know, internet, that type of stuff. But I can tell you that where I grew up, and I start to see it here, right? You know, I've been here 3 years, it makes me nervous. So, you know, there's the sign for the farms for sale at, when you get off Route 4 for 258, there's a sign right off south of 258 and Route 2, you know, all the acres for sale. And I can tell you where I grew up, first it was the farms, they turned into subdivision after subdivision, then it was farms turned into solar panel stuff, and then, you know, that's how they got through the rest of the next subdivision that's next to it. And before you know it, it is like a completely, you know, different place. I think for a lot of us, if I wanted to live in a city, which I've, you know, done before this, before I had, you know, family, you know, I would do that. I come out here for the quiet and whatnot, and I think the zoning might be the way to make sure that that stays that way.
Very true, that is true. Well, thank you all for coming. I appreciate it. And please email me if you have any concerns. I will look for that one. Sorry, sir. And
Ramon knows who I am, so he can tell.
okay, thank you. I appreciate you being here this evening. I hope you will continue to be part of the process. Please continue to. It makes a difference, and we need you. Thank you. And that's our final 17th meeting.